I was laying in my bed scrolling through my phone when I heard glass shatter downstairs, followed by my mom screaming, "Get out! Get out of my house!" My blood went ice cold. We didn't have visitors, and my mom never screamed like that. My dad had left us 6 months ago. Just packed a bag one night and disappeared. No note, no explanation, nothing. Mom tried calling him for weeks, but his number was disconnected. She filed a missing person report, but the cops said he left voluntarily. Since then, Mom had been paranoid, triple checking locks, installing new cameras, jumping at every sound. I thought she was just traumatized. I didn't know she was actually right to be scared. I crept to my bedroom door and cracked it open. I could hear heavy footsteps downstairs. A man's voice, deep, calm, too calm. "Sarah, I just want to talk. I've been staying at a motel for months. I ran out of money. I need to come home." It was my dad. "You don't have a home here anymore." Mom's voice was shaking. "I changed the locks. How did you even get in?" "I still have the garage code. I'm your husband. This is my house too." I heard something drag across the floor. Furniture maybe. Mom was locking the stairs. What my dad didn't know was that Mom had filed for a restraining order 2 weeks ago. I'd seen the papers on her desk when I was looking for scissors. It wasn't granted yet, but the lawyer said it would be approved any day. The filing listed everything. His threats over email, him showing up at her work, him sitting in his car outside our house at 3 a.m. He wasn't just a guy who left. He was dangerous. And now he was inside our house. "Sarah, move. I'm coming upstairs to get my things. There's nothing left for you here. I donated everything." Silence. Then his voice dropped to something I'd never heard before. Flat, empty. "You what?" "You heard me. It's gone. All of it." I heard him take a step, then another. Mom was yelling at him to stop, but he wasn't listening. The furniture scraped again. She was pushing harder, but he was stronger. I could hear her breathing, panicked, fast. I grabbed my phone and texted 911 like they taught us in school. "Man broke into our house. Mom is in danger. Please hurry." I hit send and immediately heard my dad's voice boom through the house. "Where's my daughter?" His footsteps hit the stairs. Mom screamed, "Don't you dare go up there." I heard struggling, a slap. Mom cried out. My entire body locked up. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. His footsteps kept coming, closer, closer. I looked around my room frantically. Window? Second floor? Too high? Closet? He'd find me? Under the bed? I dove under just as my door flew open. His boots stopped right next to my head. I could see them through the bedskirt, steel-toed, covered in mud. "I know you're in here, sweetheart." His voice was sickeningly sweet. "Daddy just wants to talk." He walked to the closet, threw it open. Clothes hit the floor. Then he went to my bathroom. Shower, curtain ripped down. I tried not to breathe, tried not to move, but my phone vibrated. The screen lit up under the bed. 911. Officers are 4 minutes away. Stay hidden. He saw the light. "There you are." He dropped to his knees, reached under the bed. His hand grabbed my ankle and yanked. I screamed and kicked as hard as I could. My heel connected with his face. He yelled and let go for just a second. I scrambled out the other side, bolted for the door. He was faster, grabbed my hair, pulled me back. I fell hard. My head hit the floor. Everything went blurry. I heard Mom screaming from downstairs. Then I heard the most beautiful sound in the world. Sirens. His grip loosened. "You called the cops?" He looked at me like I'd betrayed him. "I'm your father. You stopped being my dad the day you left." The police arrested him in my bedroom. Assault, breaking, and entering. Violating a protective order that was apparently approved that morning, and he'd been served at the motel. Mom had a black eye and a slit lip, but she held me while I shook uncontrollably. Dad kept yelling that we'd ruined his life, that we were his family, that we owed him. He got 3 years. The restraining order is permanent now. We moved to a new house in a different town, and Mom finally stopped checking the locks 5 times before bed. But I still can't sleep without checking under my bed first, because some nights I swear I still see those muddy steel-toed boots, and I wake up thinking he found us again. He gets out in 8 months. We're already planning to disappear. I was laying in my bed scrolling through my phone when I
could see which
My son walked up to a working beehive at the county fair, and every bee in the colony went silent at the same time. He's 9. His name is Marcus. He has been obsessed with bees since he was 4, not the way kids get into something for a few weeks and drift away. He keeps a field notebook with labeled anatomy sketches. He knows the difference between a waggle dance and a queen's pheromone signal. He corrected a nature documentary mid-sentence once and confirmed he was right. We were at the Hargrove County Agricultural Fair in September. Me, Marcus, and his grandmother, who comes because she grew up on a farm and likes the livestock exhibits. A beekeeper was running a live demonstration inside a glass observation enclosure near the main hall. Active colony, partial gear, a practiced talking while working voice that said he'd done this hundreds of times. The bees were loud, doing what bees do. Marcus broke from us and walked straight to the glass. He pressed both palms flat against it and leaned close, nose about 2 inches from the surface. The bees went quiet. Not fewer bees, not slower movement. All of them stopped. The constant low hum that had been filling the air dropped completely in about 3 seconds. A woman standing next to me said, "Did the sound cut out?" The beekeeper stopped mid-sentence. He was a man in his 60s, with the posture of someone who does not rattle easily. He turned slowly, looked at the colony, then at Marcus, then back at the colony. He said, "Son, can you step back for me?" Marcus stepped back. The colony came back online, hum rising, bees resuming movement within seconds. The beekeeper asked him to step forward again. Marcus put his hands on the glass. The hum dropped out again, not gradually, like someone cut a wire. The beekeeper took his hat off. He said very quietly, to no one in particular, "I have kept bees for 31 years. He left it there. We ran the test 4 more times, same result. By the 4th, around 20 people had crowded in. A man in a University Extension polo introduced himself, said he had a research interest in apiary behavior, and had never observed a colony response like this outside of a controlled queen introduction scenario. I put my hand on Marcus's shoulder and steered him toward the parking lot. On the drive home, I asked how long this had been happening. He shrugged. He thought it was normal. He said the neighbor on our street, the one with the hive box near her flower garden, her bees always come to him when he stands near the fence. He assumed it was because he stays still and doesn't panic. He said he'd been letting them walk across his hands since he was 6, and not one had ever stung him. I thought about last summer. We had a yellow jacket problem near the back porch. The exterminator came twice. Marcus sat at the picnic table for hours, and not one went near him, while I was getting stung just opening the door. I told him he had good energy for bugs. That night, I called my mother. She listened to everything without interrupting, which is not like her. Then she was quiet for a long time. I said, "Mom?" She said, "Your Uncle David?" She said it slowly, like she was pulling something up from a long way down. He kept bees his whole life. Never wore a suit, not once. Said they always knew him. We assumed he was just careful. We assumed a lot of things. Marcus was at the kitchen table when I hung up, drawing a honeycomb cross-section in his notebook and labeling the cells by function, completely unbothered. Just a kid doing a normal Saturday night thing. The man from the extension program sent an email the next morning. He used words like colonial acoustic response and unprecedented environmental sensitivity, and I would very much like to continue observing this. I told him I'd think about it. What I know is this. My son pressed his hands against a pane of glass, and 40,000 animals that have been doing the same thing for 100 million years stopped everything and went still for him. I don't have an explanation. Marcus, for his part, asked if we could come back next year for the honey samples. He said the sourwood variety was exceptional. My son walked up.
Not cool. Leave me alone. Gotta go lick myself.
Bro, are you struggling to get?
And he says move. She says no.
The song 647 will officially be in the Backrooms movie. Yes, you 100% heard me correctly, so as all of you likely to know, a new trailer for the Backrooms movie was released. And
Dog goes woof, cat goes meow, bird goes tweet, and mouse goes squeak.
When this guy was told to make a science project at university, he used all the skills he had learned over 4 years and built a fan that was supposed to spin when he pressed the switch. But somehow, it made the battery spin instead. So he tried using an emergency switch he had installed in case something went wrong, but as soon as he turned it on, the switch on the left side started spinning too. When this guy was told to make a science project at university, he used all the skills he had learned over 4 years and built a fan that
You think your current body armor is going to stop against knife attacks?
A lot of people say, I only get 200 views on all my